Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to talk about something that is, quite frankly, a superpower if you can master it. It's a huge idea from cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, and it's this. We can actually change how we feel just by changing how we think. I know, it sounds almost too simple, but stick with me, because it's a total game changer. So, let's start with this question. And believe it or not, this isn't from some modern-day therapist. This is from the ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus from like 2,000 years ago, and it hits the nail on the head. So much of what we call stress or anxiety isn't caused by the thing that happened. It's caused by the story we tell ourselves about the thing that happened. That's the core idea we're exploring today.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to look at why our thinking gets so tangled up in the first place. Then, we'll dive into some really common bad thinking habits. Things like predicting a terrible future, treating our feelings like they're facts, and living by these super strict, impossible rules. And then, we'll get to the most important part, a simple, step-by-step guide on how to actually break these habits.
All right, let's get into it. The problem with thinking. You can kind of think of your brain as running on this complex mental software, right? And most of the time, it works great. But when we get stressed or anxious or down, that software can get a little buggy. It's like a glitch in the system that starts to filter everything through this gloomy negative lens. Suddenly, our whole view of reality gets skewed.
Now there's a name for these glitches, unhelpful thinking habits. And I want you to pay close attention to that last word, habits. That's so important, because these aren't character flaws. They're not signs that you're broken. They are just common, automatic patterns that our brains have learned over time, usually without us even realizing it. And that leads me to this really crucial point. As we go through the next couple of sections, you are probably going to hear a description and think, oh wow, that's totally me. If that happens, please don't get down on yourself. It's actually a fantastic thing. Spotting the pattern is the absolute first step to being able to change it. So recognizing yourself here is a win.
Okay, so let's dig into our first category of these habits. I like to call this group the psychic habits because they're all about acting like we can see the future or read people's minds. And spoiler alert, our predictions are always bad.
First up, we've got the fortune-telling habit. This is when we just know something is going to turn out badly, before it's even happened. We've written the story, we know the ending, and guess what? It's a disaster.
You hear this, right? I'm not going to get that job. This date is going to be awkward. A thought like this seems so harmless, but it's really self-sabotage. If you've already decided you won't have fun at the party, your brain will actively look for proof that you're right. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
So what's the antidote? It's a simple, hard truth. Just repeat this to yourself, we do not have fortune-telling skills. That feeling of certainty is just a feeling. It's a strong opinion, not a magical vision of the future. Reminding yourself of that is how you start to take your power back. Now next up is fortune-telling's very close cousin, the mind-reading habit. This is where we assume we know exactly what someone else is thinking about us, and it is never, ever anything good. Oh man, we've all been there. You have a conversation, walk away, and you just know. You're convinced they think you're boring or stupid or whatever. But here's the catch. Those aren't their thoughts. They are our thoughts, our insecurities that we're projecting onto them. And again, the reality check is simple but powerful. We have to remind ourselves we do not have mind-reading skills. We have absolutely no idea what's going on in someone else's head. Maybe they're just tired. Maybe they're worried about something completely different. We don't know. And accepting that we don't know opens up so many other kinder possibilities.
Okay, so we've covered the habits where we try to predict the future. But what about when our own internal feelings start to dictate what's real? This next set of habits is all about what happens when our emotions get behind the driver's seat and just take over.
This one right here is a really, really big one. It's called the emotional reasoning habit. And the logic goes like this. I feel it, therefore it must be true. Our feelings become the ultimate proof.
It sounds like this. I feel really anxious, so this situation must be dangerous. Or, I feel like a loser, so I must be a loser. This is such a dangerous trap, because our emotional system, our physical response system, is pretty ancient, and it wasn't really designed for the stresses of the modern world.
And that brings us to this amazing metaphor. There is no tiger. See, your body is hardwired for a fight or flight response. Your heart races, you get shaky, you feel that dread, all incredibly useful if a saber-toothed tiger just walked into the room.
But when the threat is a deadline at work or a difficult conversation, you get all the same physical alarms, but there's no actual tiger. Your body is screaming, "Danger!" when you're perfectly safe.
And that connects directly to this habit, awfulizing. You might also know it as catastrophizing. This is when we use really extreme language for things that are, let's be honest, just annoying. You get stuck in traffic and it's a complete nightmare. You make a small mistake and it's a total disaster. That kind of language just pours gasoline on the fire of our emotional reaction.
All right, on to our final pair of habits. These are all about rigid thinking. They're about trying to apply these harsh, black and white rules to a world that's, well, messy and complicated and full of gray areas.
So you've got two main culprits here. First is the must and should habit. This is your inner drill sergeant barking orders. I must be perfect. People should be fair. This should be easy. It sounds good, but it just leads to constant frustration when, life doesn't follow your rule book. Then you've got black and white thinking. With this habit, there's no middle ground. You're either a total success or a complete failure. A project is either perfect or it's garbage. Both of these habits box us in and leave zero room for just being human.
Okay, so we've identified the bugs in our mental software. We've named them. Now for the most powerful part of this whole conversation. How do we actually fix them? The best news is that because these are just habits, they can be changed. We can literally rewire our brains.
The main tool we use is called reframing. It's about catching that automatic, unhelpful thought and consciously swapping it for something more balanced and realistic. So instead of, "This is awful," you catch yourself and you change the script to, "Okay, this is an annoying inconvenience, but I can deal with it." Or a rigid rule like, "I must be perfect," becomes a gentle preference. "I would prefer to do well, but I accept I'm a flawed human doing my best." Can you feel the difference? It just takes all the pressure off.
And here's exactly how you can practice this in the moment. It's a simple 4-step plan. Step 1, pause. Just stop what you're doing and notice the thought. Step 2, build awareness. Give it a name. Ah, there's that fortune telling again. Step 3, challenge it. Be a detective. Wait a minute, is there really any evidence for this thought, or am I just assuming? And finally, step 4, reappraise and reframe. That's what you swap out the old, unhelpful thought with a new, more balanced one.
Because ultimately, this is the magic formula. This is why this work is so transformative. When you change how you think, you can't help but change how you feel. And when you change how you feel, that directly changes how you behave. It's this incredible positive chain reaction that all starts with one small thought.
So I'll leave you with this challenge. What's one unhelpful thought that's popped into your head today? Just one. And now that you know this stuff, how could you reframe it? What's a more balanced, a more helpful, and honestly a more true way of looking at it? Give it a try. It really can make all the difference.